Hello and welcome back, everybody. Slim Slam and the Bandwagon fan. Tonight we are coming at you with AFC North action. But before all that, I'm Slim, he's Slam, and to my left, that is the Bandwagon fan. As always, folks, proudly brought to you by the Jersey Cartel over on Facebook and our brand new electrical sponsor, JRV Electrical.
Well done.
Boys, how are we?
Mate, I'm glad you got that out.
Yeah?
We've been having some serious technical difficulties with speaking.
I hardly think all of that is my fault, but, you know, we'll cop that and move along. Chucky, you going on?
I'm good, mate. I'm ready to go. All things North.
Yep, excellent. All things North indeed. Before all that, if you haven't already, jump on the socials, give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever you want to do to show us some love. We would massively appreciate it. I'm struggling here. I can see Schnazi laughing in my side here. But the AFC North, we're going to start from the bottom tonight and work our way up, although one of these teams is not the bottom.
The Bengals.
For old Slammer. But we are going to start with the Bengals.
No, don't you start as well, please.
Schnazi, what do you got him going this year, mate, with the return of Joe Burrow?
The Bengals?
Yes, the Bengals.
The Bengals. I had the Bengals going 5-12 this year.
Okay.
It's a bit of an improvement on last year. Their season was looking promising, right? They were playing pretty well with Joe Burrow at the helm. Once that ended, due to that serious knee injury that he did sustain, it's quite a bad knee injury too. Yeah. Not for the lighthearted. Wouldn't want to have breakfast and watch that.
No.
But no, I reckon he's going to be an out-and-out superstar.
Yeah.
Well, you normally have breakfast when you watch the NFL over in Australia, so...
Yep.
Thanks for coming. Anyway, the Bengals, back to them. 5-12. I reckon Joe Burrow back at the helm this year. Got a bit more talent through the draft. They're going to be a team that's going to be on the up. And, to be honest, you can't go as bad as they went last year once they lost Joe. So, I've got them for a few more wins. Still, though, they're in a tough division being the North. You've got three other teams, which we'll get to shortly. Slam?
Well, the difficulty there, Schnaz, is that they didn't... It was a quick throw. I was just about to start having a sip of wine, and then that comes thrown in your direction.
I was getting thirsty,
I reckon he waited for it too.
Might have set you up with that one.
The issue here, Blaze, is so they could not protect Joe Burrow all last year. They had pick, was it 5? I reckon they were pick 5.
I think so.
They were pick 5. And so the two best tackles on the board were still there.
Yep.
And they went wide receiver.
Yes.
That's puzzling. I mean, I get that he played with Jamar Chase down at LSU, but it's still puzzling.
It's a dynamic combination, but if you just... I mean, it's
but
not
what
if it goes down again.
Jamar sat out all last year too, right?
Yeah, and the difficult thing here is, wide receivers, as good as the best ones are, they are becoming a little bit of a dime a dozen. Almost every team's got a really good one.
Yeah, I don't
and
mind
some
that.
teams have got 2 really good ones.
Yeah.
To spend your top 5 pick on a wide receiver when offensive line was of such glaring need, and there was Penei Sewell and was it Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern?
Penei Sewell's the big one.
Yeah.
Everyone had them on their draft board.
Well, he went from being because he didn't play at all last year either. He went from being a number 1 or number 2 pick. Number 2 pick after Trevor. Fell down to, I think, 7, I reckon.
Yeah,
Did he go
Detroit?
Yeah, it feels right.
But every single mock draft had him going to the Bengals.
Yeah. There were signs up
so
at
much
Cincinnati
sense.
games last year, hanking for Sewell. Anyway, so that, and then they upgraded the offensive line in the second round with Jackson Carman out of Clemson, but still, when the guy's there, I wouldn't have minded. I honestly would have been okay if Cincinnati had spent pick number 1, pick number 2, and pick number 3 of their rounds all on offensive line.
Yeah,
you've got the guy. You know he's got the guy. He's already had those 4 or 5 games that he's shown he can compete at NFL level. Go out and make sure you can protect him.
Because the alternative, right, is he gets injured again, and then we're almost saying goodbye to his career.
Yeah, that's
if
exactly
he
right.
sustains another knee injury there, and I mean, there was only a few games they couldn't protect him. And you always talk about this building from the defense, and you build your line, and you get your quarterback when the time's right.
Yep.
They landed with the number 1 pick. Joe Burrow had a phenomenal season, and I don't reckon they would have probably been targeting a quarterback at that period of time. Dalton, the Red Rifle, was still serviceable, right?
Yeah.
Chips fell the way they fell. They ended up with him. Now you got to go protect him because Andrew Luck screams out Andrew Luck.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to be priority number 1. You can't be worried, and they've already got decent wide receivers.
Yeah,
I know they lost AJ Green in the offseason, but they had
T. Higgins.
They had T. Higgins last season. There's another one
down there.
I don't know if he got traded, but there was one. There's another one I reckon there as well. It's losing my mind at the moment though. They did upgrade left tackle from Minnesota, just a 1-year deal, Riley Reef. So that's but that's really all I can see on the offensive line that they've done to shore it up. So unless they've got a bunch of rookies as well there already from previous seasons that they're hoping are going to drastically improve, it's a worrying move.
It's still a bit light on.
They're not a greatly run franchise. So this just screams of another poor decision run by a mum and pop organisation.
They saw a flashy Jamar Chase. They saw, excuse me, you have apologies for that.
Saw Sports 10 and top 10 type players coming
Yeah,
up.
exactly. And obviously the relationship they had at LSU probably played a big role in that. But I agree completely. When Penei Sewell is still there and you've already got this, you've already missed out on a year of Joe Burrow, really.
They
based
had
on this.
first choice
Yeah.
of the best offensive lineman. Like, if they thought Slater was better, they could have taken, like,
Yeah.
it's bizarre.
They could have gone anyway. My point on the Bengals that I've got written down here is that obviously Burrow will be back for week 1. However, they are still, in my books, a bit far back in that division, especially if you subscribe to the Steelers going all right.
Yeah, they are. And I think that's where they're going to struggle to win a divisional game this year.
Yeah.
I mean, in that division, we'll touch on them shortly, Ravens, Browns and Steelers. I'm a bit more bullish on this. Sam's a bit more bullish on the Steelers than I am.
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah, wrong way around.
Yep.
I just read the board wrong, but we'll get there.
Back to front.
Maybe that's
I've
a
got
good
the
segue
Bengals-
into it.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
I've got the Bengals 6-11
Yeah.
just for...
For noting.
Yeah, for
and
noting,
now
yeah.
let's note your record for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right. I might have gone harsh on this, Blaze, but I've run the numbers, and if Big Ben falls off a cliff, and I think he might,
Okay.
5-12.
Contrary to some opinions,
5 and 12.
5-12.
5-12.
We've
And
got
that
Doug
was,
Hodges playing quarterback again.
yeah, pretty much.
It's a worrying sign if you're a Steelers fan like your old man, if you subscribe to your thought process. Schnazzy, what are you
Yeah, he
coming
didn't
at
love
me?
it.
Well, he's actually got the Steelers below the Bengals there,
Yeah.
which is unfathomable in my opinion.
Yep.
I've got the Steelers going 9-8. I still like what the Steelers have. They have some good bits. I think it's a big year for Juju specifically. He needs to stand up and play like the wide receiver one that he was pegged to be last year that he never quite got to.
Yep.
They've still got some pieces around the edge who are not too bad. They've got the young running back. Expect more big things from him. I am, though, the big issue, the big question mark that everyone does have is over Big Ben.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen it before. He's very injury prone and he's probably due to fall off a cliff.
Yep.
One knock to the knee and he's done, and the Steelers could easily be 5-12 comfortably.
I agree.
Predicting he's healthy for the whole season. They're in playoff contention. Probably just miss out because the Browns and Ravens are going to be a far superior team this year. But
Yes.
they're probably benefiting as well from being. They were 3. They finished 3rd in the division last year,
Yes.
right? The Steelers,
They
so they're
did,
going to
yes.
get the
They do
easier
get a softer
teams.
draw.
So that's why I've got them going 9-8.
Actually
think-
picked up Melvin Ingram as well
Yeah.
from the Chargers.
Which is a good pick for them on the defensive side of the ball with TJ Watt.
TJ
and
Watt on the
whatnot.
other side, yeah.
The Steelers last year started like a house on fire.
Yep.
I think 8 or 9 in a row or something along those
I reckon it was
lines.
10 or
It might even
11.
be more, yeah. And obviously they've now added Najee Harris
Yeah.
in the draft, who's a really popular pick at running back there
Straight out of Bama.
to come in with James Conner moving on. Obviously the running game was a glaring issue last year to the point where it was essentially unusable in a lot of ways, which ended up hurting Big Ben in more ways than one. So I guess, does Najee Harris coming back in make a big difference to what you think?
Well,
not
obviously,
you,
I
Sam,
don't think it
but,
has a
yeah.
massive influence. But the thing I'm more worried about, Blaze, here, like, if Big Ben's arm doesn't hold up that well and is a little bit suspect, Juju, let's be honest, has been more worried about TikTok and hasn't played well for well over a year.
Probably fair.
If Claypool has second-year blues and isn't that good either...
This second half of the season was concerning.
Yeah,
He started
but
like
so
a
was
house
the
on
whole.
fire.
So was the like Blaze said it with his start of his question. Then like they were 11-0, and then probably lost more games on the run home than they won.
Yeah.
They barely won a game on the run home. So if that form continues, then 5-12 is what you're looking at.
Yep.
And I do like Najee Harris.
Yeah.
I do think he's going to be
He's been a
good.
stud for
But
a long time.
there's a lot of other parts of that offense that I don't love if Big Ben's arm doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then if Big Ben's arm doesn't work, the backup options are quite frankly horrendous.
Yeah.
And
They'll be going to get a free
that's
agent
how
if
they
that
get.
happens.
That's how they get to 5-12.
To be honest, if Big Ben gets hurt in, say, weeks 3 to 4, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of a tank so they can try and get a quarterback,
Yeah.
a young
Yeah.
one.
They
I
got
don't
a
mind
very good defense, but it's the offense where I've got issues.
And it comes down to under center, as it so often happens in the NFL. It's the guy calling the shots that is obviously going to dictate your fortunes over the course of the year. Big Ben's had a reasonable preseason by all reports. He's in pretty good nick, but that doesn't mean much come week 4 if his arm breaks down or anything like that.
I don't read a lot into NFL preseason, to be honest.
No,
No, fair enough,
means
mate.
nothing.
I'll leave it at that.
Fair enough, mate. Hey, the Browns are next on our agenda, actually. They're obviously the Cleveland Browns, the much hyped up team of last year, and they go into
hype
this
champs.
year. They go into this year brimming with, I guess, a sense that maybe the season they thought they were going to have last year didn't eventuate, and maybe this year will be their year. Schnaz, did you subscribe
Yeah,
to
so
that?
I've got the Browns going 10-7. I think they're I've got the Ravens going 11-6.
Yeah.
For the other side of that. So I think the Ravens are still the better team. I mean, the Ravens got the runs on the board, so I'll keep backing them in. So I like them in the division. But the Browns, I mean, last year they had all the pieces, right? They've got stars all over the field. They get Odell back this year as well, which, I don't know what you buy into Odell anymore because we haven't really seen the Odell of old for the last 3 to 4 seasons now. But I still like the Browns. I think a lot falls on Baker. Mm-hmm. I think Baker might, in my opinion, might be a little bit overhyped.
Yeah.
People might think he's better than he actually is. So I still think he's probably the weak link in their whole offensive arsenal. But on the other hand, their defense, led by Myles Garrett, is unreal. So
they've got a brand new secondary. That's a tad concerning, especially going to play Kansas City in Kansas City week 1. I've got them losing that one, but I do actually have them going 13-4 on the rest of the year.
Yeah, okay.
The massive issue I have with the Browns is the bloke playing quarterback. Outside of that on offense, I think it's fantastic. Like, they've got good wide receivers. They've got a good offensive line. They've got two of the best running backs in the league. The issue is the bloke under center for mine, but I've got him being serviceable without being fantastic. Nowhere near in the MVP conversation, just sort of doing enough to get them over the line. But I think really the defense is going to be the most impressive part of that team.
If Baker doesn't lose you the game, I think that's isn't it? Like
I think that'd be a great regular season team, but you wouldn't want to bet on them in the playoffs.
Yeah, okay, I don't mind that actually.
I think you need a good leader. You need someone of special quality at quarterback to win, and you don't see many teams go far in the playoffs without a good quarterback.
Yeah, that's what separates the boys and the men.
Neither of you boys can see Baker kind of bucking that narrative and turning into that guy.
No, I've never liked him.
Yeah,
and I still don't like him.
Fair enough.
And I think he's too short, and I don't think he throws that well, and I reckon he's way too in love with himself.
Yeah.
Okay, cop that, Baker. If you're listening, wasn't exactly very positive. It wasn't a positive review, but
I don't like him.
It's hard to poke. It's hard to poke holes in the Browns, to be honest.
Yeah, I
think
so.
He's a bit of a low hanging fruit. He's one to take a pop shot at.
Yeah,
we call it the secondary as well. Is it Denzel Ward? Was he the one they took?
Yeah,
I wasn't hot on him being taken at number 4 when they took Baker in the same year, but he's been great in the secondary.
Yeah.
You do hate defensive backs going early.
I do. Jeff Okudah.
Shout out Jeff Okudah, the poor bloke.
There's a few.
He might have thought he was going to sneak through there.
Even one I used to shade heaps was Eli Apple.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Eli Apple, is he still on the Saints, you reckon?
Can't be.
I think
he is. He's robbing them.
I reckon he still is. You got anything else on the Browns, mate, before I move on?
Nothing massive, guys. But I think we spoke in earlier shows about how Jadeveon Clowney's ended up there.
Yeah.
They did none of the draft stuff they did screams at me. They picked up a cornerback in the first round, so obviously Schnaps probably hates that. That was a pick 26. They went linebacker in the second round, and then a wide receiver out of Auburn with the third, just a 6-footer. So who's apparently very fast. But other than that, I wouldn't have thought wide receiver was the way to go, but
no,
they got plenty of that. But anyway,
it all remains to be seen for the Browns. I think it's
very topical. We talk about Eli Apple.
Yeah,
he's at the Bengals.
Oh, is he?
And you wouldn't read about it. He was at Carolina last year.
That's some sharp work from him.
He's going all over the place.
He's starting to bounce
he has
around
been everywhere.
So with all that said on the Browns, I think it's a watch this space for them. I mean, there's potential there. We just haven't seen it just yet.
Yeah.
So.
I like him in the regular season, but I agree with Schnars there. I reckon they could be a high seed and then get bounced.
Yep.
Early. Would not surprise me.
Fair
that's when
too.
the best quarterbacks really rise to the top.
Now, Slam, you do have the Browns finishing with a regular, as you quite rightly say, a stronger regular season record than the Baltimore Ravens.
I do.
However, Schnazi, you've got a contrary opinion.
I've got them at 11-6, which I touched on before. Before we get too much into it, who do you have more faith in come playoff, Slammer? Baker or Lamar?
I don't have great faith in either of them, to be honest with you, Schnars. Lamar got 1 win and 3 losses. Not heaps with him. And the problem with Lamar is every time he gets behind in a postseason game, the bloke goes to water and looks an absolute shell of himself.
Goes to the bathroom.
Yeah, they can't do anything on offense when they fall behind, like what they want to do, which is run the ball consistently 75%, 80% of the time. They keep saying his throwing is getting better. It might be getting better, but it's still not great.
It's internal news, though.
And I think
preseason news too.
I think as well, you can say his throwing getting better, but is his throwing going to be better when they're down 24-20 late, or is he going to go to water and be nervous as all hell and just miss throws that he should make? Because I've seen him miss throws that are wide open on a regular basis. Yep. I just don't buy him.
I think it's a fair question.
I think we're having this same conversation
probably almost rather Baker
last year. About the Ravens, for the Ravens to be an elite team and actually take their regular season somewhere. He needs to be able to make the throws. And
I
then
think you bang on. Yep.
all year we didn't really see it. We were all touching on it all year. They're playing well. He's playing well. He was sort of in that MVP conversation early off the back of his season before. But we're like, I just want to see him throw the ball.
Yeah.
Never came around. It cost him. With what Sam said, at least with Lamar, I would personally take Lamar just because he has that MVP caliber. He has that ability to turn a game. And if he's not behind, he can win it for you. He can, run away with the game.
That's a worrying thing to say.
It is. You're going into a game being a downhill skier.
Yeah.
Which is not where you want to be, but
You don't want to only be able to win when you're in front in the playoffs.
no, not at all. Not at all. I just don't have much faith in Baker, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, neither do I. But
It's striking me a little bit talking through it with you boys. Excuse me. So I'm really sorry. I'm just a bit under the weather at the moment. But the quarterback conversation in the AFC North, thank you, Schnaz, that will really help. Seems to be the key point for this entire division at the moment. So you look at Big Ben, you look at Baker, and now you look at Lamar. And I think the one out of those three that exceeds expectations or maybe returns to like the MVP year that Lamar had will be the team that wins the division and plays playoff football.
That's true. I'll also say this, Blaze. In 3 years' time, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Burrow is the only quarterback remaining in the AFC North.
Wow. You reckon Baltimore might cut ties?
He's
Well,
the best
if something
quarterback.
goes wrong, and let's be honest, with how much he runs, he only has to get hurt once.
Yeah, true.
RG3 looked really good for a year and a half, and then career done.
It is a depressing thought, but it's a real one.
Yeah.
I think-
and the Browns, the Browns wouldn't surprise me if they moved off, if they got a better offer elsewhere with somebody else they could pick up in free agency. That wouldn't shock me at all.
Because and if it is right, if he's their weakest link at the Browns, being Baker, why wouldn't you go out and try to find a quarterback who you think could get you over the edge?
Definitely.
Like even someone like Aaron Rodgers for a year or two.
You don't want to waste years.
We know he's leaving Green Bay.
Yeah.
You don't want to waste years on your own pride.
You don't want
based
to
on
waste
what you
it
did.
when you've got all the other pieces.
Yeah.
Like, they'd even be better. You keep seeing teams that have got young quarterbacks who are on rookie quarterback deals win because they're not playing the quarterback much.
Yep.
If somehow something went wrong, Baker and a few others get injured, they end up down the bottom, would not be surprised at all if they took a quarterback early, were paying him nothing, could keep everybody else on the roster, and then they've got that quarterback for the next 5 years.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. You've stepped your way through it really nicely there, Slammer.
To round out the North,
Yep.
I'd say Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in this
Yep.
division.
Yeah, okay.
100%.
Yep. And I think as a massive props to a young man that only played a handful of games last year before getting cut down with injury. But I think everyone is really, really excited to see him come back and just praying that the Bengals can adequately protect him for the rest of the season.
Mate, I want to see them as in primetime
Should-
football
no,
games
yeah,
that
should,
next
yeah.
year and a half.
Mark Ingram's not at the Ravens anymore either as well. He's at Houston now.
Yeah. So a bit lighter
spewing.
running back. as
Unlucky
well.
for him.
Yeah. It's just-
They drafted wide receiver in the first round as well.
Yeah.
So,
Houston is where dreams go to die.
They
at the
did
moment.
announce that Deshaun's not the starting quarterback.
yes,
in
they
week
did
one.
announce that today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's the mail. So, boys, AFC North in the books, another show in the books. As always, it's been a pleasure to hang out with you and talk some footy. If you haven't already, over on the social channels, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, show us some love however you see fit, and always be happy to engage in some conversation. We're more than happy to debate or to answer questions or anything along those lines. For everyone that's stuck around this late, we do have the JRV Electrical Special has been confirmed during the week. So for anyone in the market for
this
some...
is news to me.
some things I keep close to my chest, but anyone in the market for some electrical work, tell JRV Electrical that Slim Slam and the Bandwagon fans sent you, and you'll get 10% off is the word. So
What a deal.
how about that? JRV looking after our valued listeners. But with all that said and done, Slammer for another night.
We'll just say one more thing, Blaze.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot.
No, it's all right.
We get the fans interaction, and I just
Yeah.
want to shout it out on the show. Of
course.
The line for Pittsburgh was 8.5. 70% said over. The line for Cincinnati was 6.5. 26% said under. 74% said over 6.5.
Okay.
So they're a bit high on the Bengals.
Yep.
74% said over 10.5.
You just said
for
Bengals.
Cleveland. No, I hope not. And then 70% said over 10.5 for the Ravens as well there. So they're apparently quite hot on the AFC North.
So a couple of
the
strong
fans.
records with the fans there.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you for that, Slam. And it is important that we shout out the fans.
I don't want to forget them.
Yeah, on that poll engagement. It is one of our favourite things that we do at the moment. So with all that said and done,
There you
Slammer,
go.
please
He's
send us
been
out.
Slim, I've been Slam. That's the Bandwagon fan. Good night.